Last episode here, final episode of part 1, a Pieck episode, which is awesome because Pieck is clearly the best girl, and she is genuinely my favorite female main character. But my female, she's by far, I would say, the best female character, right? And this scene here, I think, is the best Pieck scene, but also this I've seen later. But yeah, so of course she points at Eren like, "You are the enemy, and they're gonna fight you to save, the planet," and that, right? So yeah, it's a great scene. I think the whole episode focusing on all these cute Pieck faces. It's beautiful, right? I mean, like smug Pieck, tricky Pieck. It's just for me definitely a good final episode. That being said, again, I am biased, right? Because Pieck really is my female main character, my waifu of Attack on Titan, right? And I would say that I probably said not a video, but my number 2 is probably Annie, right? Yeah, and then my number 3 is probably Hitch. So the Annie Hitch part I love too, right? That Hitch is protecting Annie and so on. But that's not for later. But yeah, and of course Sash is probably number 4 then. I got a waifu right list now. But anyway, so yeah, I like the whole episode, right? I like of course everything with Pieck. Again, I am biased though, but I do like the whole part of Pieck here, right? That she's like entering here, trying to trick Eren, right? Trying to get some information out of Eren. What is the plan? What is Zeke's real plan, right? Trying to, somehow infiltrate and get that information, right? And it fits Pieck, right? Because Pieck, as I always say, she's always presented as the most intelligent character, right? Like the character that can understand the nuance and see the different traps and patterns, right? And that stuff, right? So, for example, with the trap, with the hole, right? She immediately hugged those guys and were like, "Oh, they're gonna trap us in this place to come and save us." So your Pieck is, in all of her scenes, she's always presented as the kind of the genius character, so to speak. But not a genius in like, I'll say it, in the Iron Man way, more like a strategic genius, right? In the Kaji way. Yeah. But anyway, so it's a really good scene, and I really do like the scene with her and Gabi, though. First of all, of course, when Gabi is like, "I'm gonna kill you, Pieck! You traitor! How can you betray the Marlies? You're even worse than the other demons. You're like the worst demon, like the traitor demon." So yeah, she's like, "Shut up, girl!" Yeah, and this whole thing it's beautiful seeing her fight with Gabi. But I think it really is a good, kind of, it's like, I don't know, little sister kind of feel, right? Because of course she's just lying to Gabi, right? She's just pretending to hate Gabi. She's like, "Shut up, I always hated you," and that stuff, right? But she's doing the Eren, "I always hated you, Gabi." Followed by the immediate, where she of course protects Gabi here, and it's like, "Don't worry, Gabi, you're like my little sister. I love you." So I think it's like a nice, episode, right, where she does the Eren thing. "I always hated you, Gabi," and then 5 seconds like, "Actually, everything was a lie, Gabi. I love you, and we're gonna save you. Here comes our friends. Here comes our family." So it's I love it. Yeah, I love it. We get all the Pieck moments, right? But really, I think Pieck has one of the best characterization, right? She's much more of the nuanced character, She has different faces, right? She's a good liar. She pretends different personalities. She's kind of whimsical, right, and so on. Smug Pieck, happy Pieck, all the Piecks, No, but really, I think that both with her, lying to Gabi, so, but also generally, how you feel that Pieck is more of I would say, a character with, personality, some sass, right? It's, yeah, and everyone, you see all the guys, they're like, "Man, this girl is pretty cute." Yeah, you see the soldiers down there, they're like, "Man, that new woman there, she's kawaii. Yeah, she's got a Genki kawaii." I was like, "Yeah, Pieck, that's my wife for now." But anyways, I think Pieck really carries the episode. Come on, it is pretty clear, man. I'm a biased at all. Clearly the best female character. But anyways, let's talk about something else then smug, happy, cool Pieck, right? They've been hinted for a while, right? And of course they're bringing Reiner, that looks all angry, and they're bringing their blips, right, Zeppeliners, he's gonna fight Eren and so on. So it's definitely a nice, I would say, final episode, right, of this part 1 here. It kind of ends on the whole notion of, here comes the Marlies, they bring in their, military might, right, they have all this, advanced military technology, right, that is, I wouldn't say it's much more advanced than Paradise, but it's definitely a few, technology steps up, right? So they have the flying stuff, of course, they have the paratroopers, right? They have all that stuff. They have the armored siege tank and so on, right? Obviously, can't bring the tank, but the siege tank on a train. I mean, the whole that thing is hard to bring, but they can bring the minor stuff, right? And of course, they have armadas or whatever, right? So they have all the good stuff, right? And it's an interesting. I think so. I think an interesting, definitely kind of intriguing last point, right? Like, here comes the Malays to have all their experience from having all this wars, right? Because the Malays, of course, have been fighting all the other countries, right? They've been fighting, the Kusan Empire or whatever. They've been fighting other empires in other, countries and nations and so on, right? So they have a real veteran army, right? And last time, of course, Paradise, right, ambushed them, right, with the whole Eren attack, right? But here's more like now they are coming with the, of course, gathered forces, right? And they have. As we saw with Tuber family, they kind of gather up the coalition against Paradise, right? So they're also bringing in some other military countries, right, into this final, like, World War II, I guess, setting. They kind of have the World War-ish 2, right, weaponry, more or less. Arguably even past World War II, like the World War, maybe Korean, yeah. They kind of like at World War II, mixture, some World War I, and the technology is kind of up and down, right? But it's something like that. They kind of like they have the blimps and so on. Yeah, it's like late World War II. Horrible weapon, though. I probably said it in one video, but the actual Zeppeliner and blimps in Warsaw is a horrible weapon to use, right? Because obviously any anti-artillery can very easily shoot them down, though. Because they're flying. It's like a flying freaking super slow thing, right? It is very, very easy to destroy blimps. I mean, come on, our blimps! Never actually used, right? Like in Red Alert 2, I think we have blimps. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Anyone can easily take them down, though. So it's a cool thing to have here, and they're dropping, Titan bombs, right? But in actuality, it probably would never work. You probably would so easily shoot them down. Horrible weapon, horrible vehicle using weaponry. But anyway, it looks cool. It looks imposing, but. If the Paradise could be like one artillery, if they could be like one, ATA system, it would destroy them all in a second, right? Because it's horribly slow. But anyway, so Yelena, does let's have a pacing dialogue, everyone. And it popped into my head there during the reaction, but I do feel that she is Mikasa, isn't she? Come on, I'm right on that. This is Mikasa. If Mikasa loves Zeke instead. She's just fanatically... I guess it's more vocal than Mikasa, but otherwise they're basically kind of the same character. Like her favorite color is Zeke, right? But I think that this is like the only thing that I feel in the episode. Actually, her, killing them off, and yeah, that was good. That was good. But I think that, as I said a few episodes ago, I think 2 episodes ago, right, in that review, I do always find it with the Yelena part, not this part in the prison though, but the earlier part, when they're like drinking wine, and like, oh yes, you're gonna love this strategy that Zeke is doing. Same with playing cards, right, and so on. I think those scenes, though, they are, in my opinion, man, they're slow paced, man. And they're slow paced because the problem is that they're having this dialogue, and it's like there's no action. The problem is that they're having a dialogue where I feel that we as the viewer, I would argue for this, basically knows everything they're gonna say, right? Yeah, like, and a very little extra information, something you can very easily assume is true anyway. So her first dialogue there, when drinking wine, that to me is like, man, this feels almost like a filler. Like you jump over it, right? Definitely got better, of course, in the prison when she taunts them, and the guy is salting in the Sasha wound and that stuff, right? Definitely better, but I still think that these things, though, to some extent, though, I think they have some issues here because it is still just kind of like, oh, here she is presenting that Zeke is awesome, in a Mikasa dialogue way, right? Which is like, Zeke is the best. Like, why? He's Zeke, he's the best, It's like, okay, great arguments there, right? And obviously, they can't really talk to her because she's a fanatical Zeke lover, right? It's basically like telling Mikasa not to love Eren, right? They are the same character, aren't they? So, you know what I mean? When Jean is giving her like an actual, somewhat good negotiations, right? She's just like, but I love Zeke, right? So you kind of know it's like talking to a wall, right? You know what I mean? She's so fanatic. Just like Mikasa, always loving Eren no matter what, even after he, of course, told her hated her. So still protecting him from Eren, right? This is the same thing, right? So I think I feel it's an issue there where I'm not saying that Jean presented the ultimate best argument ever, right? But no matter what Jean or Connie would say to her, or Aubrey or whatever, right? We all know that she's gonna ignore it anyway, you know? It won't lead to anything, right? And this is her, like, fan girling over her Titan, right? Yeah, so I don't know. And the wine thing is kind of the same thing too. I do feel that I think that's like the issue of the episode, definitely. It's like the last time to return. You're kind of filling out time, I guess I would argue for, more than actually adding so much to it. And also, because she's so one-dimensional, it's like Mikasa, it's like Eren said, because she has used her fanaticism, right? It doesn't really explore her as a character, because she's the exact same character that we saw earlier, right? And she hasn't changed, and she won't change either, right? So she's the exact same character, and no matter what anyone tells her, right? We see with the military and so on, she has the exact same, reaction, right? So I don't know. I said it last time. I stand by my case. She's a fanatic character, and that's fine, right? But the more you see of her, it doesn't get better, I think, because it's the exact same thing. I mean, yes, the shoot scene was good though. But anyway, let's talk about the baby scene with Zeke, and I hate this scene. The negative points here. No, but it's like, man, this is like, oh man, this is like not family friendly. He's dreaming of Ymir before though. It's interesting. He's dreaming of Ymir. For some reason, he can see Pat, I guess. He can see Ymir. Whatever. It could be his bloodline. I mean, yeah, it's true. He's of course from a bloodline, so I guess he's like patted to Ymir somehow, I suppose, something like that. But anyway, and then of course the baby scene happens, right? With Zeke, which is like the weirdest thing ever. Whatever, I won't show it then because it's too. It's just oppies. So this scene, it's never been explained. But Zeke is like lying there, right? He's almost dying. And then this Titan is like, oh, let me put you in my belly and like give birth to you, like have like a pregnancy, and then that's like, I don't know. I think that is a bad writing part. Right? The episode overall, I think, is a really good episode, especially because of all the Pieck scenes, right? But that story element to me, it's just such a Deus Ex Machina plot over, right? It's just like, okay, Zeke is gonna die, right? Because Levi is really badass, right? So Levi, of course, got Zeke good rights. He got him down there again, and you know the stuff, right? And this, I think, there's a lot of like the whole eating the cake and having it too, where it's like, well, both have Levi defeating Zeke and having Levi basically killing Zeke, right? But also not killing Zeke, because we need to have Zeke alive. We're gonna have Zeke be saved in this like really weird baby thing, right? You know what I mean? Like it feels to me very forced to like, here's the plot armor. It's like the ultimate plot armor to enter to save Zeke again after Zeke has been like, how many times hasn't Zeke just barely not killed by Levi for like the 10th time, right? Something like that. This of course is the most extreme case, right? And it is never. It's also never explained. It is never explained how this thing does this thing. It's just because he's the bloodline. Could Zeke control it somehow? It just happens, right? It's like he dreams about Ymir, and then I guess Ymir sends him help or something from the gods. So I don't know. It's just not explained either. It just happens, right? And it's just like, oh man, it's a really weird scene, and it just happens. I feel this is a very contrived way to make sure that Zeke still survives, even though he basically died, by Levi. So it's like they're both achieving what the plot wants them to achieve, you know what I mean? I don't know. I wish... I would argue, say this thing, right? If the whole pregnancy didn't happen, it would still be the same thing, Zeke could lie there on the ground and just heal by being a Titan, right? He doesn't have to be saved by this scene. Doesn't actually add anything. The only thing it adds is that Levi was, badass, right? But we never know it anyway, right? So it's just a weird way to like plot save Zeke. I stand by saying that. I don't know. The scene to me is pointless. It really is, and also it's never explained. Again, I think it is a scene used to make, Levi look more competent, even though Levi already looks like the most competent character anyway. Right? Levi's already like the most competent guy anyway. He defeated all those Titans off screen, right? Off screen, and it's like, I'm coming for you, Zeke. I don't feel I need to have this baby saving Zeke, because I feel like, no, I'm already quite invested into Levi being the best, strongest character in this anime. I feel quite that is already established, I feel, right? Without having that Zeke couldn't even heal himself. He needed to be saved by this baby thing. Like you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, come on. Just let him heal instead. Just let him heal. Oh my god, that scene is... It's so unnecessary, in my opinion. It's so unnecessary. It's so unnecessary. Why? Why, man? But anyway, guys, that's the last reaction review then for this year, I guess. I did the nice ending, like next week probably, 2 weeks ago. Maybe. I'm not sure there. It's interesting. But I'm gonna go now, read a bit news, right? And do another video probably just shortly for now. If I can, I'm gonna try, right, and go and find, if I can find like the date, right, or whatever, but it's probably gonna be unannounced, but whatever. I'll do an update video later then about the winter season coming and my prediction, but I still stand by saying that, looking at the stock market, right, particularly, I still think they're gonna make a movie. I talk about more in the other video than coming out later tonight, but I think the movie, as I mentioned earlier, it just makes so much sense. You see Demon Slayer because it really, from a business standpoint, right, it's all about what makes my stock grow the most, right? So it was tremendously important, really, for Sony of last year. And the thing is that Sony already had a very strong year because of everyone being at home. PlayStation was sold more, right? And to some extent, PS5 is priced in, but there still is some upwards. So they really increase a lot of value of that company with the movie, like really a lot of value. And then the effect of that is that other companies are gonna see that and be like, we have to also make movies. So for that matter, on Tuesday, of course, next week, we have the final episode of Black Clover. It's gonna be sad, 107th episode, and I very much think they're also gonna announce some kind of movie, right? Jujutsu Kaisen just announced a movie at Friday, so. But it's just so much more stuff left, right, in Attack on Titan. So, but I still think that I feel very confident, honestly, in the chance of having a movie being the final part, even if they're doing this part 2. So I talk about more in the video, but I'm explaining more in detail. But it's just from like a business standpoint, they're gonna make a movie. Trust me, guys, they're gonna make a movie because it is just like the economical value of making a movie in this kind of phase now is just so incredibly much higher, right? And ending it at a movie point is just so much higher. And I'm talking about 10 times the economical value, right? But I explain more in the video coming up, and go check for that. And do the stock market. Look at my stocks here. No, but seriously, that is gonna be. It is incredibly important from a business standpoint. But anyway, guys, be fun, of course. Reacting and viewing Attack on Titan, especially here ending with Best Girl Pieck, of course, entering the anime, having so many goddamn Pieck scenes with SMUG Pieck, with my SMUG Pieck. Everything was awesome, man. Whereas, let's end on, there we go, there we go, SMUG Pieck, okay? This is the final episode, guys. SMUG Pieck face, oh yeah, SMUG Pieck face, baby. Awesome ending. Anyway, see you guys then later tonight with update on the part 2, I guess, and non-Biara final, and Mushoku Tensei, unfortunately, of course, ended last week, but that's coming back in 3 months from now. So that's it today. Then we have the non-Biara, and subscribe, guys, see you guys, so on. And of course, next week we're having all the new animes, right? Making Demon, of course, by wearing a suit. And yesterday, right? That's back, and we have How to Lost Summon a Demon Lord, and so on, right? A lot of exciting animes, I feel. Probably not as popular as Titan though. Making Demon is probably closest, right? But I'll see you guys and have